everyone, and a very good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. Thank you very much for coming along to this webinar for introducing online courses designed to enhance the quality of clinical education. So firstly, a couple of introductions. That's me, Sarah Vaughan, on the right-hand side. I work for Epigeum, the organisation that put together the online courses. A large part of my role is looking after our collaboration and implementation workshops, as well as our product launches and online events such as this. I'll let Tessa on the left introduce herself now.
Hello, I'm Tessa. I'm an Associate Commissioning Editor at Epigeum. Until recently, I was a project editor and spent most of the last year working on the project that encompassed teaching and assessment for medical educators and teaching and assessment for nursing and allied health educators.
Thank you, Tessa. And so just a quick look at the agenda before we get started. First, we'll look at Epigeum itself. We're the organisation that put together the programmes through a collaborative model, which is quite unique, and I'll show you a short video that explains how this approach works. Then we'll move on to Tessa's presentation, an introduction to the teaching and assessment for clinical educators programmes. Following this, Tessa will also show you a demonstration of both programmes to give you an idea of the content as well as how they look and feel. So we were founded in 2005 as a spin-out originally from Imperial College London. Our two founders created the company in response to what they felt was a lack of timely support for researchers. One of our founders was doing a PhD at the time while working full-time, and he came across issues that he wanted and needed to be advised on. And it would either be that there would be a face-to-face course in 3 months' time that was being offered, or that there was inadequate, dated, or boring material that didn't quite fit what he needed. So he saw this as an opportunity to work with universities to create supported materials for researchers, particularly PhD students and postdocs like himself, that gave just-in-time support for all these issues. And that's where we started, in the research arena within higher education, and in the 10 years since we have expanded to studying programs, courses for students, and teaching programs for staff, of which this is one of. We were acquired by Oxford University Press in May of last year. Oxford University Press are actually a division of Oxford University, so we're still within the not-for-profit organisation in a higher education context, and still very much focused on creating high-quality materials. To date, in the decade since we have been formed, we have created over 78 online courses across 12 different programs, and we have currently 7 in development. So we're an increasingly globally focused organisation and have worked with over 260 universities across 29 different countries worldwide to date. We've worked with many in Australasia and East Asia as well, and this is a map to show you what countries we have been involved with in the development of the courses. Now I would like to show a short video which will explain our development process to you.
The story of an Epigeum course. We come up with an idea and we consult widely to develop and fine-tune it. We commission a team of expert authors to write it and a team of expert reviewers to help them. We commission a lead advisor who gives strategic vision and leadership. And we bring together a team of universities who form a development group to give feedback on our plans and prototypes and to make sure the product meets their needs. The collaborations we build are drawn from across the world and often involve input from over 50 academics, as well as a team of in-house specialists. Because we believe that collaboration and iteration are the key to producing truly innovative and effective products. So we bring everyone together for a launch workshop at the start of each project. It's a great mixing pot where the creative juices can flow and expertise can be shared. We provide a week-long training course for our writing team to make sure they're able to get the best out of the online medium. And we provide plenty of opportunities for sampling and feedback along the way through a detailed peer review process. In fact, a typical product goes through at least 5 iterations before it's ready to be built by our in-house developers. Together, we're more than the sum of our parts, and our unique and rigorous product development process gives all collaborators access to groundbreaking courses they couldn't have created alone. Here's what some of our customers have to say. Our products are used by over 200 institutions in 25 different countries. To find out more about the collaborations we're currently building, click on the Next Steps button or get in touch with us direct. We'd love to work with you.
Okay, to just briefly summarise the content of the video you have seen, here's just a few bullet points. So the development group of up to 20 universities come together and share their experience at a workshop to help us create a really great online course. We recruit the authors all under the guidance of the lead advisor. In the case of the programmes we are discussing today, Professor Ed Peel and Nigel Harrison. The lead advisor is the person who has the expertise in the area who can lead and shape the vision for the programme. We also have a meticulous review process in place which allows the development group to look at the content of the courses, check that it matches their expectations and comment on it as well. And when it comes to actually implementing these courses at your institutions, there are 3 different ways you can do this. One, you can offer them as a standalone online courses. You can offer them as tutor-supported online courses. And the way we prefer and the way we recommend that you implement them is through a blended learning program. We have a dedicated implementation team based in our office, and they will give you the support that you need in implementing the courses so that they are most effective at your institution. Now I will hand over to Tessa to talk a little bit more about the programmes.
Okay, for ease I will be referring to Teaching and Assessment for Medical Educators by its acronym TAME, and Teaching and Assessment for Nursing and Allied Health Educators by its acronym TANAHE. So firstly, to give you some background. The origins of TAME and TANAHE lie in Epigeum's University and College Teaching programme, which was published in 2011. University and College Teaching had been bought by Quinnipiac University in the US. There, one of the associate deans in the medical school had been very impressed with the programme and realised that it had potential to be adapted and revised for a medical audience, both in the US and internationally. She was very enthusiastic and contacted Epigeum, and so the idea for a new product was born. Secondly, and this was really the main motivation, there was and is a real need for such a training programme. Excellent clinicians are not necessarily good teachers. Medical students, clinical students, nursing students will be taught by a wide range of teachers. These teachers might have much to offer in both the science and the art of medicine. However, sometimes the learning experiences of the students can be suboptimal because clinicians lack confidence as educators. This programme helps to train practitioners to be effective educators, meaning that they are comfortable teaching students whilst in patient settings. The third motivation linked to this second one is compliance. Professional statutory regulatory bodies require that clinical staff, faculty members, are provided with adequate training in teaching and assessment. For example, in the UK, the Academy of Medical Educators provides guidelines, as does the Nursing and Midwifery Council, the NMC, and the Health and Care Professions Council. The NMC in particular lists 8 domains which need to be covered by institutions, and this is universal really. Staff need to be competent in areas such as the facilitation of learning, evidence-based practice, and leadership. We cover all of this in the programme. Fourthly, the TAME-TANAHE programmes are hugely valuable because they help clinical and healthcare institutions to address challenges posed by time, space, and resource constraints. Clinicians are busy people, and not only are they busy, but they are busy at different times due to shift patterns, and they're often spread across different sites of learning too. So here there's an example from Quinnipiac University, where there were 700 faculty spread across 50 clinical sites. Quite simply, an online e-learning course is the most effective way to ensure that faculty have access to the same training and are brought up to the same standards. So who are the TAME-TANAHE products actually for? Both TAME and TANAHE are aimed at all practitioners, that is, all clinicians with teaching responsibilities. Both products provide an excellent foundation in the concepts of clinical teaching and assessment. However, they are not exclusive to new educators. They can be used by more experienced educators who wish to refresh or update their knowledge too. Essentially, both programmes provide a building block. The building block is surrounding mentorship and teaching, and that will help you to reach the levels higher up in professions, for example, a certified teacher level. Now turning to who helps to inform and shape the TAME-TANAHE products. A diverse and international development group was brought together for this project. Here you can see the list, which also specifies which branches of the programme they were aligned to. The big names associated with the product are shown here. As already mentioned, Professor Ed Peel, Professor Emeritus at Warwick, the author of the course in a previous programme at University and College Teaching, returned to Epigeum as lead advisor and author. Ed is immensely experienced and well known in the clinical education arena, having worked in Warwick, Exeter, Oxford, Belfast and Malaysia. In 2009, he was awarded the President's Medal of the Academy of Medical Educators for his lifetime achievement in medical education. On the right, we have Dr. Nigel Harrison, Executive Dean of the College of Health and Wellbeing at the University of Central Lancashire. He was the lead advisor on Tannehay. Having worked as an adult and mental health nurse, he is a Principal Fellow of the Higher Education Academy and works as a Nursing and Midwifery Council reviewer. He was an invaluable person to have on board and helped us to map the Tannehay course to official guidelines. On to the authors. Ed Peel was both advisor and author, and for Tannehay we had Dr. Russell Gerbert come on board to be the author. Russell initially entered the NHS as a mental health nurse, having been in the Royal Navy. He has extensive experience in course design, online learning and clinical decision making. I'll now move on to explain the actual content of the TAME Tannehay programmes. A reminder of the structure. So there are 2 programmes. In each programme, in both TAME and Tannehay, there are 2 courses, and there are 3 to 5 chapters per course. This next slide has a summary. Although both TAME and Tannehay are distinct programmes in their own right, there are common key topics across both programmes. These include preparing and designing teaching sessions, learner preferences in diverse educational settings, planned and unplanned teaching, communication skills, designing appropriate assessments, delivering and receiving feedback. Now this last one refers to feedback from both patients and students. Some particularly exciting features to highlight are outlined in this next slide. We first have alignment. Both TAME and Tannehay have been driven by and mapped to professional body education and training standards. They are aligned to official frameworks. Both programmes have extensive additional learning opportunities. For example, there are portfolio activities which can be downloaded in each screen. I will show you this in the demo coming up. And there are also communicative activities. These are essentially activities we provide like lesson plans in which tutors can arrange for participants in the course to come together either face-to-face or online to work either with a tutor or with their peers and to explore certain topics further. There are between 39 and 44 hours of offline content of additional learning in these programmes. Next, we have the engaging video interviews with educators and students. These really help to make the content of the screens come alive. And fourthly, linked to this, we have realistic clinical scenarios. These are in the form of either text case studies followed by questions, video scenarios, or comic strips. Regardless of the activities and the key topics, the most important feature of TAME and Tannehay is the fact that the patient, or the service user, remains at the core. Throughout, we underline the fundamental role of patients within clinical education, highlighting the issues of safety and consent. So how can you use the programmes? Epigeum programmes are designed to be flexible. The courses can be implemented as online only, as blended learning, or in a face-to-face setting or in a webinar form. At base, the TAME and Tannehay programmes are highly relevant to clinical educators. They contain up-to-date theory, models and standards. They are comprehensive and timely. They underline the fundamental role of patients. And ultimately, they help educators to ensure that the clinicians of tomorrow are fit to practice. So that's an overview of the programme. I'll now move on to the demo. Now, I'd like to give you an idea of some of the core pedagogical features in both programmes. It is worth emphasising here that although TAME and Tannehay are distinct products, they have different authors and context-specific content, they do, as I mentioned, have common features. To start, let's start by looking at a screen from the course Clinical Teaching and Learning in the TAME programme. At the top of every screen, we have a learning outcome, which indicates what is going to be covered in the screen and what participants should have learned or should be able to do after completing the screen. We also offer an estimated duration, here 8 minutes, so that students have an idea of how long it is likely to take to work through the screen. These estimates include time to watch videos and complete activities in the central section of the screen. Screens vary in length throughout the programme. On the right-hand side of many of the course screens, there are little clickable boxes, or as we refer to them, pods, containing extra information about the main screen content, as well as activities, documents to download, definitions of key terms, and links to further reading. The first one here is a quotation pod. Throughout the course, there are quotations from real patients, students, and experts. These are often followed by a question to consider underneath. Another important pod to point out is the Your Context pod. Now, these are scattered throughout both courses in both programmes, and they encourage participants to find out more about their own context. For example, the expectations or guidelines at their own institution or within their own profession, or the support available within their own department. They are customisable, which means that institutions can insert their own information into the pods. Here, for example, institutions might want to insert links to their own website, handbook, or curriculum. You will notice that many of the screens also have icons on the right-hand side. These symbols indicate ongoing themes which are explained in the introduction screen of each course. Here, we have a support icon. It appears wherever the screen content refers to the importance of providing learners of all levels with the necessary help and assistance. If I just return to the previous screen, I'll now show you an example of the high-quality video footage that features throughout both programmes. So here, we have a video with a clinical educator talking about how to deliver bad news. Providing interesting anecdotes and useful advice, these clips prompt participants to think about their own teaching and learning experiences, to question their own methods, and to realise that they are not alone, that their peers experience the same concerns. All clips, both video and audio, have transcripts for accessibility purposes. It is worth mentioning at this point that all of our interactive screens also have an accessible counterpart containing flat text. This can be accessed here under the text print version button. And these are printable versions which are compatible with screen readers and useful for those who are unable to use the interactive version for any reason. Moving on to talk about one of the main features I highlighted in my overview, alignment. Both TAME and TANAHE have been mapped to professional standards. Now in TAME, the content has been shaped by the recommendations of the Academy of Medical Educators, the AOME in the UK. This is most explicit in Course 2, Clinical Assessment, Feedback and Evaluation. We have inserted a self-assessment tool in the introduction screen. So basically, the participant is required to read the key components as stated by the AOME and answer yes or no. I'll quickly fill this in. Based on their answers in the activity, participants will receive feedback at the end, which indicates the level that they are currently at according to the AOME. So here, I've been told that I am at the level expected for membership. Hopefully by the end of the course, participants will feel that they have improved and enhanced their current skills. In the TANAHE programme, the content aligns with the standards advocated by professional bodies such as the Nursing and Midwifery Council and the Health and Care Professions Council. These are both UK-based, but the core themes are universal, and throughout, participants are encouraged to explore their local regulations. Useful links and references to these bodies are dotted throughout the TANAHE courses, as are Did You Know pods, which specifically indicate how the screen content relates to the standards set by the NMC. On this screen on interprofessional learning, we have a Did You Know pod on the right-hand side, which lets the participant know that the material on screen maps to the domains 1, 2 and 6 in the Nursing and Midwifery Council portfolio. These are establishing effective working relationships, facilitation of learning and context of practice. Again, we encourage participants throughout to explore their own standards and to see how their standards support and correlate these indications. Staying on this same screen, I'll move on to talk about activities. Activities in the programme fall into two categories: interactive and presentational. Presentational activities are used to present key subject matter in an engaging and attractive way, rather than simply as flat text. So on this screen we have a couple of presentation activities to illustrate the value of interprofessional education. This image of a football or soccer pitch shows that different professionals across their clinical fields will have to work together towards the same goal, which is interprofessional education, which essentially is an important part of providing high quality and clinically safe healthcare practice. Further down the screen, we have another example of a presentation activity in the form of a book. This expands upon the content higher up and just states the principles of interprofessional education in more detail. In my overview, I mentioned that we have clinical scenarios, sometimes in the form of comic strips. An example can be found in this screen, which appears in the TAME programme on indirect working with patients. So here we have how to work with an interpreter. There are two comic strips. The first shows a poor example of working with an interpreter, and the second example further down the screen provides an exemplary method. Interactive activities, in contrast, require the participant to actually do something, whether this be entering text in response to a question, matching items or putting items in order, and so on. Here is an example, now moving on to a screen from the TAME programme in course 2. Now this screen is about aligning assessments with the curriculum, and the first activity has been designed as essentially it's an alignment board. Participants are asked to imagine that they are working on a surgical curriculum for junior doctors. They have to consider the 4 proposed learning outcomes at the top and identify the form of assessment on the left, the assessment which might best align with each outcome. So these are noted on the left here. You are required to click on each square. Ideal matches turn green, near matches turn amber, and mismatches turn red. Another engaging example can be found in the Clinical Assessment, Feedback and Evaluation course in Tannehay. Now, we like to have interactive polls throughout our products, and this one here appears on a screen about the issue of underperforming students, the challenging issue of failing students and failing to fail. This poll encourages participants to reflect on their own experiences, the ethics surrounding underperforming students, and to realise that their peers face the same challenges. So the first question here, have you ever made the decision to fail a student? Basically, we hope by presenting the course content in various ways throughout the courses, we can help to keep the material fresh, digestible, and ultimately entertaining. Fourthly, the next thing I want to talk about is assessment. In both programmes, assessment comes in various guises. This was touched on in the overview. Self-assessment and evaluation opportunities are provided in the form of portfolio activities, most commonly. So there's an example back on this screen of a portfolio activity pod. These portfolio activities are downloadable documents, Word documents, which provide users with opportunities to develop their learning by doing extra tasks. Here, participants are encouraged to think about a course that they teach on and to reflect on the constructive alignment which regards an item of their teaching. So, what are the potential implications for each of the items listed below here? When you download the attached template, you will see that there are instructions, an estimated duration, and a space to record thoughts. Participants have the option to download each document as and when they like, i.e. when they are on the specific screen, or to download all the activities in one collective document. This is provided in the introduction screens of both courses. At the end of each course, participants are given the opportunity to consolidate their new skills and knowledge by completing an interactive series of questions based on clinical teaching scenarios, or a scenario depending on which course you're taking. This one is taken from the Tannehay programme, Course 2, Clinical Assessment, Feedback and Evaluation. Participants have to put themselves in the place of Nora, a mentor who is helping a struggling student, John. They have to work their way through the questions. Following the practice scenario, if you look at the left-hand navigation panel on any screen, you'll see that there's a course summary, a resource bank, and a references screen. The resource bank and references just provide extra reading, websites, books, and articles which you may want to explore after taking the course. And then the course quiz is a multiple choice quiz. It's the default assessment mode, testing both completion of the course and understanding. These quizzes are provided in a format that will allow institutions to add and remove questions after the courses have been installed in their VLE or LMS. I hope that I have given you a good taste of both the TAME and Tannehay programme content and some of the pedagogical features with this demonstration. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask now or to email me later. I'll now hand back over to Sarah.
Thank you very much, Tessa. Now, if we have any questions, or if you think of anything to ask us at a later date, feel free to drop us an email. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can go on our website, epigeum.com/next steps. You can email us directly at marketing@epigeum.com, and we can give you some more information about the course. You can also email, we can get you in touch with Tessa as well, she can give you further information. We can also give you a free course trial, so you can get a bit of a feel for how the courses look and feel. So please do get in touch. We look forward to hearing from you, and thank you very much for joining this webinar today. I hope you have a nice rest of the day. Thank you.